Hey, folks, welcome to the live version of Cutter One. I am your host, Jay Just Jay, and I hope you're all doing well, you beautiful badasses. Yeah, so this is the first one, so cut me some slack if things don't go exactly according to plan. It's the first time I'm doing a live stream. Just a couple of things. We've got. Um, a moderator in the chat, so just be aware. Obviously, if you see someone, Shady J is moderating the chat for me here, and she is also known as Mrs. J, Just J, and yeah, it'll be cool. She's like me. You guys know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, so she'll just be keeping an eye on the chat for me or answering any questions that it's hard for me to do while I'm trying to be live here. So yeah. Anyway, on this one, what we're gonna do is we are going to be watching the channel Tales of the Ring. We're going to be watching The Doom of the Noldor. And this was recommended by our very own Macaru112. Was like, dude, you got to check this out. You got to check this out. You got to check this out. So, you know what? We're checking it out. So, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's weird. I'm not used to doing this live. I'm used to hitting a record button, and then if I don't, if I make a mistake, I can go back and edit it out. So it's kind of weird being live, but it is what it is. So yeah, so if you have any questions or anything, put them in the chat there, and they will be brought to my attention. Otherwise, I want to just give it a few minutes. Until we get a couple of people in here. Figure we'll give it a couple more minutes. And then we will get started with watching The Doom of the Noldor. I heard good things. Macaru sent me the link, and I didn't want to pre-watch it. I thought that would kind of be cheating, right? I wanted to give you guys my straight up reaction to it, so I didn't watch it, right? I had other people sort of watch it and just let me know if there was anything that I might need to be aware of that might be sort of a sticky situation with YouTube, because you never know. You never know how they are. They're constantly changing the rules as to what's okay and what's not okay. So I had other people watch it for me, and they were like, "Yo, dude, this is some really good stuff here. This is pretty good. You're gonna like it." So I'm kind of jazzed for it, kind of excited for it, and we'll take it from there. Then after that, I figured for those who may be interested, for those of you who may want to stick around, who may be interested in stuff like that, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the characters, and just a general synopsis of that book that I've been working on. The author of which is Shady J herself. She is the writer of said novel, and I've been helping her out. But she's given me the go ahead just to talk a little bit about the main characters and just touch on a few things without going into too much details, because it's still a work in progress. So so that's that. Yeah, like I said, this is so weird to be streaming live. Not used to it, so let me know in the chat, you know do you think 6 p.m. on Saturdays is a good time? Should I adjust the time? I it seemed like it'd be a good time. It's not too late, so it doesn't interfere if you want to go out and you got plans and stuff like that. It's still relatively early, and at the same time, it's not hitting you up when you're trying to go out and get things done during the day. I figured it was a good time. Most people would be chilling at home for dinner, might have a little bit of time to kill, and that would be a good time to be watching this. So let me know if you think it's a good time, or if you think we should maybe adjust the times to an alternate date or day or time during the week, and we'll take it from there. All right, so let's see what else. Don't mind me. I'm just looking at certain things. It appears that we've got a couple of people in here, a couple of people watching, so that's cool. All right, so let's see. What's the time here? It's 6:04. Okay, I say we give it another minute or so, and then we will start the show with Tales of the Ring. Oh, geez, it's 1 a.m. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So I'm assuming you probably might want me to adjust the time here. So if you have some suggestions, let me know. I'll try to figure out something that works good for everybody. Ooh, I didn't mean to be keeping you up till 1 a.m. Sorry about that. But yeah. Oof. I feel like bad now. Sorry. All right. So I can't let my sorrow stop me. I'm too in deep now. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna get started with the Tales of the Ring, the Doom of the Noldor. I've never seen this, so you guys are seeing me react to it for the first time. So let's see what we got here. Hold on, just trying to switch it over. All right, okay. All right, let's see what we got. Tales of the Noldor. That's a pretty badass opening. I like it already.
Nai kotumo arnilmo kalima vala pausa arpoika moringo thonna elda armaya arapanona endores atansin unona ilar thanje Ilar melme, ilar malkason samme, osta ilar harwe, lau ambartana, so thauruva, feanarollo, ar feanaro nocello, iman ascalia, ar haria, ar micambe mappa, era hirara, ar haya hata, Vandalme iliai un quale sonanta valme mennai auremetta qualme ten ambar metta quetalman lasta eru illuvatar ja morena me quetta marcia ire quelluva ciardalma ai no rontesse tirtasse l'asta arima vanda enjalas varda
These terrible words turned into deeds soon after, and a large number of the Noldor, led by Fëanor and his 7 sons, set out northeast and came to Alqualonde on the shores of Valinor, stronghold of the Falmari. Knowing that his choices were few, Fëanor asked the Teleri for their ships, but they refused, letting him know that their boats were products of their hearts, just as the Silmarils were to the Noldor. And, not wanting to defy the will of the Valar, they attempted to persuade the Noldor to reconsider and stay in Aman, invoking an ancient friendship. But the Noldor started taking the ships by force, and now angered Teleri also began to threaten the Noldor with rocks and arrows, and they threw many of Fëanor's followers out of the ships in an attempt to block the harbour. Then the Noldor drew swords, and the Teleri their bows, and blood was shed in the streets of Swanhaven. Thrice the host of Fëanor were driven back, and many were slain upon either side. But the vanguard of the Noldor was succoured by Fingorn, with the foremost of the host of Fingolfin. Seeing their own kin falling, and assuming the Teleri had attacked the Noldor under orders of the Valar to waylay the march of the Noldor, they became fierce and desperate, and thus many of the Teleri were slain and their ships taken. Then the Noldor set off towards Middle-earth. Olwe, king of the Teleri, called upon Osse for aid, but he came not, for it was not permitted by the Valar that the flight of the Noldor should be hindered by force. But Uinen wept for the mariners of the Teleri, and the sea arose in wrath against the slayers, so that many of the ships were wrecked, and those in them drowned. Nonetheless, the greater part of the Noldor escaped, and when the storm passed, they held on their course, some by ship and some by land. After they had marched for a great while in the unmeasured night, they came at length to the northern confines of the guarded realm, upon the borders of the empty waste of Arama, which were mountainous and cold. There they beheld suddenly a dark figure standing high upon a rock that looked down upon the shore. Some say that it was Mandos himself, and they heard a loud voice, solemn and terrible, that made them stand. Then all halted and stood still, and from end to end of the hosts of the Noldor, the voice was heard speaking the curse and prophecy, which is called the prophecy of the North and the doom of the Noldor.
Tears unnumbered ye shall shed, and the Valar will fence Valinor against you, and shut you out, so that not even the echo of your lamentation shall pass over the mountain. On the house of Fëanor the wrath of the Valar lieth from the west unto the uttermost east, and upon all that will follow them it shall be made also. Their earth shall joy them, and yet betray them, and ever snatch away the very treasures that they have sworn to pursue. To evil end shall all things turn that they begin well, and by treason of kin unto kin, and the fear of treason shall this come to pass. But dispossessed shall they be forever. Ye have spilled the blood of your kindred unrighteously, and have stained the land of Arma. For blood ye shall render blood, and beyond Arma ye shall dwell in death's shadow. For thou here who appointed to you to die not in here, and no sickness may assail you, yet slain ye may be, and slain ye shall be, by weapon and by torment and by grief. And your houseless spirits shall come then to Mandos. There long shall ye abide, and yearn for your body, and find little pity, though all whom ye have slain should entreat for you. And those that endure in Middle-earth, and come not to Mandos, shall grow weary of the world, as with a great burden, and shall wane, and become as shadows of regret before the younger race that cometh after. The Valar have spoken.
Upon hearing this, many of the Noldor who did not partake in the kinslaying, including Finarfin, returned to Valinor to be pardoned by the Valar. But other Noldor, led by Fingolfin, some of whom were blameless, were determined to leave Valinor. Fëanor took his sons and those most loyal to him and stole the boats so that they could cross the sea first. Then, upon arriving in Middle-earth, Fëanor burned the ships, ensuring they could not be sent back to Valinor. But since Arda was flat in that ancient time, Fingolfin saw the great burning of the ships, and thus knew that Fëanor had betrayed him. Nevertheless, the remainder of the Noldor decided that if they were to reach Middle-earth, they would have to travel further north, to cross the grinding ice, which cost them many lives along the way, as many of them perished in the crossing.
that was kind of badass. I wow, wow. I'm gonna let the credits go because these individuals deserve uh, to be known. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Whew. All right, Macaru, you done good. Yeah, you done good. That was pretty badass. I can't deny it. And I kept thinking while watching that, like I don't know what these guys' budget was for this, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't almost $1 billion. And I enjoyed that as a Tolkien fan, enjoyed that more than the entire 8 episode season of Rings of Power. That was really, really good. I liked it. Ooh, where to start? I like the animations. The dude when he who was doing the Oath of Feanor in the beginning, like yeah, that's kind of how I imagined it. Like that, that he was yelling it, like he was feeling that, and yeah, the animations were great. The music, like the production wise, I thought it was freaking awesome. Yeah, like, whew, I'm still like processing it. Sorry, guys, this is live. I'm still processing. That was pretty badass. I gotta say. Now it's interesting because I was also working on a little abstract art thing based on the music of the Ainur, but now I don't know about it because now that I saw this, I'm like, oof, these guys are good, and I know they've got more stuff. Like obviously, I've been to their channel. I haven't watched their stuff, but went to the channel to load this video to get it ready to show, and they've got a bunch of stuff. So I may check out more of their stuff, and I don't know, maybe I'll do it live. You guys let me know what you think. Like you want me to check out more of their stuff? Maybe like next Saturday do another video of theirs, because that's really impressive. I gotta say, especially coming off of the Amazon stuff. As a Tolkien fan, it makes my heart go pitter patter to see that was pretty badass, pretty badass. Yeah, Macaru 112. Good on you, bro. Definitely good on you. That was a good call. Definitely a good call for recommending that. All right. So what do you guys think? Like, let me know in the chat. Like, what do you guys? I mean, were any of you guys seeing this for the first time as well? And if so, what were your thoughts? I thought it was extremely done. It was done extremely well considering, right? Like I said, I don't know what the budget was or if anybody got paid or maybe it was on a volunteer basis or whatever. Only because of like licensing and copyright stuff. It's not like you could have a major production company involved, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, considering that, Amazon has $1 billion and we know what they did, and these guys I can't imagine had anywhere close to that amount of money, and that's just one. Like I said, I know that they've got a good 15 videos like that on their channel, and that was just one, and I'm just like, wow, that was like a really good like 10 minutes or so of video as a Tolkien fan. Yes, yes. That feeling like when you were first reading the Silmarillion, absolutely. That's I kind of was just like, I don't know if you guys saw, I was just sitting there like, whoa. Like I can't comment. Like I have nothing to say because I'm just so like enraptured by watching it. I thought it was pretty badass. Like I said, I'm still like, wow, that was really cool. Now I know what Macaru was talking about, and the people who I had like check the video prior when they were like, yeah, you're gonna like this one, and they were right. Yeah, I think that was really, really cool. I think that was really awesome. That was really, really awesome. And I'm glad that, some of you guys, especially you know, 1 a.m. I'm still like, ugh. But like, I hope that made it worthwhile, checking in on the channel at 1 a.m. Because I, I feel like my Tolkien palette has now sort of been cleansed a little from everything that we've been talking about for the past like 2.5 months, all the nonsense and the bad articles and all that stuff. Now I feel like, oh, there is good Tolkien stuff that's new and exciting. And Yeah, I think that was one of them, and I definitely want to check out more of their stuff. But I will definitely consider like sort of doing a watch party. I guess does this count as a watch party? I don't know. I'm not up on my streaming stuff, but I would definitely consider doing more of a watch party type thing for their content, and yeah, it'd be interesting. I I may reach out because I may want to potentially do like a live stream where interview the person who came up with that. Because that was very impressive. I'm impressed as both the Tolkien fan and somebody who has a background in film and visual effects. I'm impressed. I really am. I keep saying it, but I am. So maybe I'll reach out to them, see if maybe we can't do like a live stream where you know sort of do a one on one and get their insights and their take on things. Okay, okay. Um, but yeah, it was impressive, definitely impressive. So thank you, Macaru112. Keep sending me stuff. For y'all who don't know, like you've probably seen him in the chat. Macaru is like super active, both in my channel and other channels, and God bless him. God bless you, bro. Like, because he's constantly like even like in the comment section, which is great. But even he'll like reach out to me personally and be like, "Yo, dude, you should check this out, dude." Yeah, and you know what? His info is always spot on. So God bless you, Macaru. You are the man. Like you definitely hooked me up with that. That was definitely impressive, and I'm glad I got to watch it. And I'm glad I got to watch it with live so that you can see my reaction. I see what you were talking about with when you said how it sort of it hit you. It did. It was impressive. All right, so I mean, I don't want to just sort of drag this on and ramble. I know it's live stream, but I know technically we're coming up on like the half hour mark. So I don't want to drag this out. Okay, hold on. See, here's the thing. What you guys don't see, I have a second screen, but my second screen, because of the way my desk is set up, it's sort of pushed back, and that's where I have to have my chat. So if you see me lean over, it's only because for some reason the text on it's really small. I forgot to make those adjustments prior. See, again, the first stream. So if you see me lean over, that's what I'm doing. I'm just checking out, seeing what somebody said so I can respond. Yes, Antony. No, thank you for taking the time out and checking it out with me. Yeah, I kind of was of the same mindset. I realized, okay, I mean, since we're kind of on the subject here, um, and I kind of mentioned this, I realized that, like, listen, I could have taken the route that a lot of other channels did, which was just to completely just all right, I'm just going to be me and talk the way you guys know how I like to talk, right? I could have just taken a route and just did videos that constantly just shit on the Amazon show, right? On Rings of Power, right? And I personally feel would be completely justified in building an entire channel just based on that, right? But that's just not who I am, right? Like, yes, I will call out crap when I see crap, right? And Rings of Power is crap. We're all in agreement there. And I will call it out, and I will call out an article that tries to claim that it's going to educate you on Tolkien, and then I read the article, and it's abundantly obvious that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I will call that out all day, every day, 365, right? But I don't want that to be what my channel's about. I don't want this to be a channel where Cutter One is just shit talking Rings of Power. I didn't want it to be. I wanted to at the same time sort of highlight the positive, right? Which is why I posted that video where I found I think it's Stan Lockfield who did the Silmarillion soundtrack. I posted that video about it. There's a lot, and now like with these guys, Tales of the Ring, or Tales of the Rings, channel, where people are making content, and it's good, and it honors Tolkien, it honors the work that he did and the work that he shared with us, and I wanted to have that positivity also. Like I don't want to just talk trash about things. I wanted to bring some positivity, highlight. Listen. Yes, I'm a filmmaker, and yes, I'm working on a thing about the music of the Ainur. Like I said, it's a very like abstract sort of highfalutin concept thing with some visuals and so on and so forth. But I wanted to not just highlight my stuff, but like highlight other creators who are influenced by or inspired by Tolkien and what he's done, and they're using that as a positive influence and putting out good stuff. And I think that's what a lot of, and I hate to say this, a lot of Tolkien channels tend to have either just been like sort of commentary channels that were only talking about Rings of Power / Tolkien as long as it was convenient to get them a lot of clicks and a lot of views. And then once the whole Rings of Power thing died down, they move on to something else, which to me is kind of like, all right, you're on our team, i.e., Tolkien fans, but you're not like, you know, leading the charge here. You're not manning the wall, so to speak, and guarding the gates, right? You're sort of like it's the popular thing. You'll talk about it and make videos about it, but then you'll move on to something else as soon as something else becomes popular. Wasn't going to do that with my channel, right? This channel will cover three main things, and I'll say it live, and I've said it before in other videos. Primarily Tolkien. Okay, that is, I'm a huge Tolkien fan, and I've said it before, and that's what the channel will primarily be about. But also, I'm a huge Dungeons and Dragons guy. Okay, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons since back in the '80s, so I'm sure when that movie comes out, and you guys know the movie I'm talking about, the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves film, I'm sure I'll be doing videos about that as well as Dragonlance and Elder Scrolls. Right, that whole fantasy genre, like high fantasy genre, that's sort of like my thing. Right. So I didn't want the channel to become a fly by night, like, okay, I'm just going to hop on the whole bash Rings of Power thing and then move on to other stuff. Like, that's not what this channel's about. It's never what I'm going to be. I'll be talking about Tolkien when it's no longer popular to talk about Tolkien. Just like growing up, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons long before it was popular to play Dungeons and Dragons. When you were considered a nerd and a geek and a loser for playing Dungeons and Dragons, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. Now that it's a popular thing, everybody's playing Dungeons and Dragons, but I digress. But I also, like I said, I wanted to highlight people who are having positive contributions to the Tolkien community and the community of fans of fantasy and that genre, right? And so that's why I will highlight people like Stan Lockfield, who did that Silmarillion soundtrack, which I think is just amazing. And I will highlight these guys, Tales of the Ring, for their videos based on Tolkien's work, which I think is amazing. And I'm actually, kudos, again, I can't say it enough, kudos to those guys, because like I said, I like their stuff better than all 8 episodes of Rings of Power combined, because you could tell they are fans, they love Tolkien's work, and they're going to do it justice and give it the honor and reverence that it deserves. So I want the channel to also be about that, right? So that was my thing. The other thing is there's also a lot of very well established lore channels, right? And you guys know the ones I'm talking about. There's Tolkien Untangled, I'm a subscriber. Men of the West, I'm a subscriber. Girl Next Gondor, I'm a subscriber. The Broken Sword, I'm a subscriber, so on and so forth, right? There's a lot of channels that put out a lot of lore videos. And that's one of the reasons why on this channel I've put out maybe I think three or four lore based videos, because I realized that there's already very well established, very well produced channels and content that are already taking care of this. They're already, giving accurate interpretations of the lore and stuff like that. So I don't want to try to repeat what somebody else is doing, if that makes sense. And sort of just like mimic and copy what other people are doing, which is why I tend to take a more of a, here's a subject, let's discuss. I'll give you my opinion, and then I open up the floor, generally in the comment section, or starting now if we do like a weekly live stream, where I open it up to you guys, right? Like, it's more of a discussion about something, not like I'm coming at you like, hey, here's the lore. I'm just going to quote you from the book and that's the end of it. Because, like I said, there's a million and one other channels that are much bigger, much better, much more established than me that are already doing that. And I have no problem conceding that ground to them because they're good at it. Like I said, I'm a fan of Tolkien Untangled, right? And Men of the West. I watch those channels. I'm subscribed to those channels. So I'm not looking to copy them or like rip them off or just go for the easy click, easy view stuff. I'd much rather talk about like, okay, what are the implications of this person's oath or that character's actions, or what do you think Tolkien meant about this? And I'd much rather discuss it and see what other Tolkien fans think and what other people's opinions are. So that's where I'm coming from as far as that goes. But also, I want to highlight good work, good Tolkien work when I see it, good fantasy work when I see it. So that's the other thing. So yeah, that's what I will do. That's what I continue to do. And I hope that you guys will stick around and come along for the ride. I'm sure it's going to be fun. And especially when season 2 of ROP comes out, I know we're going to have a good time. By then I'll have worked out all the kinks and the live streams and we'll have a grand old time with it. I know we will. So yeah, hold on. Now I've got to go look at my comments. Dragon's Dogma. If you got a link or something, I don't think I'm familiar with Dragon's Dogma. Um, I'm huge into Dragonlance, but obviously that's different. Yeah, no. If you either you could either send it to an email. It's carter1@gmail.com. If you want to send me a link, an email or something like that, or just down in the comments, or just post it here in the chat, and I will definitely check it out. Not familiar with it, but that doesn't mean anything other than maybe it's just something that I inadvertently overlooked and just hadn't heard of before. Um, yeah, like I've read stuff like huge Dragonlance. Like I spent, I don't know, I think they've got something like over 100 like paperback novels in the Dragonlance universe. And I've got a good like 40 of them. So yeah, huge Dragonlance guy, Tolkien guy, Dungeons and Dragons guy. Um, Oh, okay. It's a game. It's a game. Video game or board game or like role play like RPG. And what I mean like RPG like tabletop RPG. Um, yeah. Yes, I have a soft spot for dragons. Like huge, huge, huge into the dragons and stuff like that. Actually, I you know, but growing up, I designed a tattoo that I want to get eventually. At some point, I'll get it. Of a dragon. Okay, it's a video game. All right, yeah. I will definitely look into it. I will definitely look into it. Dragon's Dogma. Okay, let me make note of that. Yes, I'm going old school and writing on a piece of paper here. Dragon's Dogma. Okay, because I'll probably do it later on tonight. When it's like 2 o'clock in the morning my time, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe I live streamed. But anyway, all right, so. Yes. Thank you guys for sticking around and showing the channel some love. Again, I'm not in it for the clicks or for the views and stuff like that. I'm in it because I'm a fan. Like everybody else, and I'm just so tired of the fans getting shit on every time we turn around and every time we have a critique of something. Some big corporation decides that it's going to label us some horrible thing simply because we don't, blow kisses at them because of their show or whatever. And that's why, like I said, that's what prompted me to eventually create the channel and get in the fight, so to speak. Because it's a fight. I think because we've seen this play out before. Unfortunately, we saw it happen to the Doctor Who fandom. We saw it happen to the Star Trek fandom. We saw it happen to the Star Wars fandom. We are currently in the process of watching it happen to the Marvel fandom. And now they eventually got around to us, right? The Tolkien fans. All All right, hey man, and Tony, thank you very much for stopping by and spending some time with us. Yes, get some rest. It's late for you. Thank you very much, and I'm glad you enjoyed. All right, guys. So yeah. Anyway, so we've seen this happen with the other fandoms and stuff like that, and I just don't want it to happen to us. So yeah, I decided to get into the fight. All right, now. Speaking of which, because I'm looking at the clock right there at the time, so I've been rambling for 40 minutes. I wanted to share some things. Okay, so J, have been working on a book. Okay, it's not my book. Okay, I've been working with the author of said book, and the author of said book is the lovely Mrs. J, otherwise known as Shady J, in the chat there. It's actually her book. She's the author of the book, but I have been, sort of Johnny on the spot for whatever needs. Like if she needs to bounce an idea off somebody, she needs, help with a concept or something like that. I've sort of been like the guy who's like helping where I'm needed. So she gave me the green light to talk a little bit about said book. So the current working title for the book that I am involved in, that is being written by Shady J, the current working title, okay, is The Crimson Born. Okay, and I don't want to give away too much, but to sort of give a synopsis of what it's about, The Crimson Born takes place in a land known as Temuin. Okay, think Temuin roughly is like Middle Earth, right? It's like a continent, right, within a world of its own. So it takes place in Temuin, and you have these three major kingdoms: the Breorian Kingdom, the Adwevial. I want to say Adwevial Alliance, but Shady J, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But it's the Adwevial Alliance or Empire, and because I've been messing this up repeatedly. Empire. Thank you. Adwevial Empire. It is the third one is the Dakar Triumvirate, because I have a hard time saying triumvirate, guys. Don't ask me why. It's the yes, okay, the Dakar Triumvirate. Okay, yes. So those are the three alliances: the Dakar Triumvirate, okay, the Adwevial Empire, and the Breorian Empire. Okay, and the Crimson Born are, again, I don't want to give away the whole concept. But each of these alliance, there's a prophecy, and each of them has a sort of champion that sort of defends their kingdom, alliance, empire, right? Sort of like their big representative. And something happens. There's this threat that happens that sort of forces these three champions to come together and work together. Now, normally they would be working against each other because these three empires are all sort of vying for control. But this bigger threat sort of forces them to work together. And that's the general gist of the story, is that you have these three champions from these three sort of warring empires that have to sort of set aside their differences, come together, and sort of save the day, basically. And so got some concept art, and I think I shared some of it in the comments section, the community section. I posted a couple of pictures, but let's take a look. Okay, so here we see the main character. This is the protagonist of the book, basically. Her name is Celine Demerick, okay? And she is Breorian and half Elvish, okay? So she's, I guess, half elf, if you want to put it that way. She's a magic user, primarily a magic user, hence the staff that she's got there. She's the main character. She is one of the champions, okay? She's the main character that's sort of leading this reluctant group of heroes on their quest to save the land of Temuin. But there's others. She's not the only one. Um, she's she's a tough one. She's a fight, but she's not. I guess Shady J can better describe this in the chat for folks. She's a strong, independent woman, but not in the classic Hollywood strong, independent. Strong, independent in that what a real strong, independent woman would be, right? Not in the Hollywood like, oh, I can beat up everybody, I can do everything I do, I'm the bestest ever at. She's not like that. She's got flaws, she's got doubts, she's things that she's not sure of, if she can pull off. But at the same time, she knows that things rely on her, and she has to sort of make it work, and she's willing to do what it takes. Yes, very down to earth. Thank you. I don't know why the English was failing me. Probably because I'm not used to being live still. But yes, very down to earth. Not perfect. Strong-willed, independent, magic user, half elf, Breorian Empire, and she is the protagonist. With her is the champion from the Adweevil Alliance, or Dweevil Empire. Dweevil Alliance Empire. And this is Naza, okay? And Naza is Hakiri, okay? What is Hakiri? Well, clearly they are like a humanoid cat person. For those of you who may be familiar with Elder Scrolls, think Khajiit, okay, in their physicality. He is the Adweevil champion, and he is more, he's like a sort of very zen, very spiritual, I guess, in that sort of like a Buddhist monk would be type of demeanor. He understands the importance of them having to work together. But at the same time, he's what's the words I'm looking for? He's not like spiritual in the sense of like, oh, don't do that, grasshopper, like that's bad. He's very all about like being centered and being at one and at peace with himself, and at the same time he'll kick back and go to the local tavern and get his drink on when he needs to. So that's Naza. That is the other of the main heroes. Then we have Drathor. Yeah, he likes to mediate flaw. Yeah, and he has flaws, but he's very centered. So this is Drathor. Drathor is a Vorn, which is sort of like think like Viking, Nordic, right? Very Nordic. Or if you're familiar with Elder Scrolls, think like a Nord, right? That's sort of what Drathor is like. Very down to earth. He again is the champion of the Dakar Triumvirate, and he's he's all about like, listen, can we hurry? Okay, he's a fighter, and he knows what has to be done, and he's willing to do what needs to be done. But at the same time, he's just like, all I want to do is just hang out, maybe have some mead, and not have to be getting into life and death situations all the time. And that's sort of his role in the whole thing. Hey, what's going on? Troll Axe Thrower, how you doing? Glad you could be here. Thank you for checking in. It's the first live stream, so bear with me. So like I was saying, Drathor is he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's just one of those guys. He's a good fighter. He's a champion, but he would rather be working on his farm and getting together with the crew at the tavern than going out and fighting all the time. All right. So the next one we have up, and this is a Eluin or Eluin. I always mess up the pronunciation of her name. She is she is to Celine what Samwise Gamgee is to Frodo, right? She is also with the Breorian Empire, and she is sort of like Celine's assistant. She is a knight, okay, whereas Celine is a more of a magic user. She is a knight, and she is not half elven. She is just straight human. But she is a knight, but she does use a staff. So she's sort of like I guess for people who know a little bit about Dungeons and Dragons, she's sort of like a cross between a fighter and a cleric would be the best way to describe her, or a knightly cleric. Like think of like paladin, right? For D&D players, you guys know what I'm talking about. She's sort of like a knightly cleric, right? Very much about doing the right thing, doing the honorable thing. Uses magic, right? So she's not about the healing and stuff, but her magic is sort of focused in that area about defensive magic and stuff like that. So she is Celine's Samwise, to put it in perspective. All right, let's see. The another character we have. Oh, this one you guys might like. This character is known as Meliath. She is a dark elf, and she is Drathor's sort of like bestie. Like they're like best buds. They do everything together. Yes, yes. Monk cleric. Yes, that's or monk paladin. Yes, that's very much in line with that character. So yes, that is a good description of it. But Meliath is a dark elf, and her and Drathor are like best of friends. Think Merry and Pippin. If Drathor was Merry, she would be Pippin, right? Like they are always together, always, whether they're getting into trouble, saving the world, or getting arrested. She's the one that's going to be the one that gets Drathor bailed out, right? She's like his best friend, his best buddy. They're not romantically linked, but they're best friends. Do everything together. She is a dark elf. She has some magical powers. She uses the sort of her magic is more focused. Um, I want to say assassin, but it's more like quick strike, stealthy type of magic is how she operates. Whereas Drathor is more hack and slash. She's more, I will be part of the shadow until I, you know, materialize out of the shadow to stab you in the neck, and then I'm gonna materialize back into the shadow. As opposed to Drathor, who's just like hacking the room up. So that's Meliath. She is also part of the party of heroes. This is Nerudi. And I love this character's name, Nerudi. She looks like a Nerudi. She is also Hakiri, and she's with Naza. She's kind of like a student to him, but not like official student. She uses more magic, whereas Naza is more of a fighter type, a very think like a ninja or like a martial arts expert. She's more magic based, but at the same time, she's sort of under his tutelage. She's because she's still young compared to him, so she's still all gung ho and in awe with the wider world and stuff. And so she sort of brings that childlike element, and not in a sort of goofy sort of way, but in that sort of she's the one that's still like this is all new to her, and going out into the wider world and doing these things and seeing these places and all of that. So Nerudi is definitely a cool character. I like Nerudi, and I definitely like the look that the AI gave her. All right, just a couple more. Okay, yes. Here we have this is our big bad guy, right? This is King Vrysor, King Vrysor, and he is and Shady. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong here. Thrilakian. Um, yes, Vrysor and Thrilakia is the the name of the kingdom that they're from, that he's the king of. I believe it's Thralakia. Again, sorry about the pronunciation. Thralacria. Okay, thank you. Thralacria. Um, yes, so King Vrysor is the king of Thralacria. And they are the Thralacrians, for lack of a better term, are the big bad guys in the book. They are the big external threat that's being that sort of comes out of the mist, threatening the other three kingdoms. And so he is the one that is leading the Thralacrians. Now, he uses magic. He's very, very, very old. Rumor has it that he uses dark magic to keep himself alive and to keep himself going. Dark, ugly magic, sort of almost like, I don't want to say necromancy, but in that vein, like sacrificing and draining life force to keep himself going. So that's our big baddie. Think Emperor Palpatine, if you will. So that is King Vrysor of Thralacria. And finally, our last one here is the other big baddie. Okay, and this is Adamar. And Adamar is also Thralacrian. He is Vrysor's like right-hand man. Think Darth Vader. What Darth Vader is to the Emperor, that's what Adamar is to King Vrysor. And he's also a like uber skilled assassin. But he doesn't always necessarily agree with King Vrysor. He's of his own mind, if you will. So those were the characters in the book. The book is called The Crimson Born, and it is being written by Shady J. And well, I mean, she's all but done with it at this point, but we're still in the process. Don't know exactly how it's coming out yet because looking into getting a like legit publisher, like there's a like. We're talking. This is going to be like a legit thing, getting it published. But obviously, if get a publisher and stuff like that, I will definitely let folks know if they're interested in checking it out. But may end up self-publishing. Don't know. Again, still working that part of it out. Yes, as she pointed out, it's called The Knights of Temuin: The Crimson Born Trilogy. Yes, it's just to get you up to speed. It's a book that's being written by Mrs. J, just J, otherwise known as Shady J, who's in the comments, who's in the chat there, is publishing a book. She's literally written a book. She's sort of polishing it up right now, and was just sharing some of the concept art for the characters that are in the book, and just giving a brief overview of the story again without going into too much details. But yes, she is going to be trying to get it legitimately published through a publisher. Ultimately, again, if that doesn't pan out, may end up self-publishing, but it is an original work. So one way or another, it's going to get out there. And I will definitely let everybody who's subscribed to the channel know when and where they'll be able to get it. But yes, I have been helping as best I can. Definitely, apparently not with the pronunciation. Hello there. Verity Princess. Hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking in with the live stream, my first live stream. So I'm sort of fumbling around, and if I seem a little bit out of my element, it's probably because I am. But I'll get more used to it, and it'll be more smooth next time. I promise. I swear. But yeah. So anyway, I will definitely keep everybody who's subscribed to the channel in the loop regarding the Knights of Temuin: The Crimson Born trilogy. When that first book comes out, I will let you all know where to go get it, and yeah, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. If you guys are into the same fantasy stuff that I am, Tolkien, Dragonlance, Dungeons and Dragons, Dragon Riders of Pern. If you guys are into that stuff, I'm sure you'll like this stuff too. Elder Scrolls, right? You guys are definitely going to like this stuff too. So yeah, definitely. All right. According to the clock on my computer, we have now been streaming for exactly 1 hour. So I have completed my first hour stream. And yeah. So to recap, let's go back and do a recap here. Um, Macaru 112, bro. Love you, man. That awesome recommendation. The Tales of the Rings, the Doom of the Noldor was awesome. It in a 10-minute fan made video was more impressive than the entire 8 episodes of the Amazon show, which I'm not going to name again. So definitely Macaru, if you've got more suggestions, bro, you got my email. Send them to me. Definitely. I may wind up looking at more of uh, the Tales of the Rings stuff. I may wind up doing watch parties if you guys are interested in that on Saturdays. Just getting together and watching their stuff because it's good. And like I said before, I want to highlight good creators and good creators within our space, right? Within the fantasy Tolkien space, right? So whenever somebody's doing something good, I want to highlight it. So I may wind up doing watch parties, just to get the exposure for them, to get it out there, to get more people seeing it and enjoying it. And if y'all want to watch it along with me, grab a beer, grab a chair, grab your favorite drink, whatever, and we'll all watch it together and have a good time. And again, as far as the book, the Knights of Temuin, the Crimson Born trilogy, I will let you know as soon as there's any updates. I think Shady J is working on doing maps for the actual book. There's going to be maps in there so you could follow along where things are going. So I think she's working on that this weekend after we get done with the streaming. But yeah, so that's where it is. And I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I definitely hope you enjoyed the Doom of the Noldor. I thought it was freaking fantastic. And again, thanks Macaru112. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, any comments, any suggestions, like I said, I will. I'm looking at doing the live streams weekly, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, but because as Anthony mentioned, it was 1 a.m. where he was watching it. If you guys think of there's better times or maybe a better day, I'm open to suggestions. We can see what works best for everybody, and we'll take it from there. All right, guys, that's it for now. I'm going to call it a night, and I'm going to finish my coffee, and that'll be that. Until then, you guys have a good one. Be good, be safe, be awesome. I'll probably see you in some videos throughout the week, and yeah, that'll be that. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Peace.